Kat Royer, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Down to Earth Real Estate. Today we're going to be talking about the 3 most commonly asked questions as buyers are going through their process. Number 1, is this a safe neighborhood? Great question, we will get to that in just a second. Number 2 is, how do I know that I'm getting a deal? This is a major question I get all the time, and there are a few really good answers to this. Number 3 is, how do I get out of this contract, Kat? I no longer want this house. And we'll go over the whys and hows and kind of get through that process as well. So the first question I get asked a lot as we're showing homes, we're going through the homes, you're seeing a lot of different neighborhoods, a lot of different houses, maybe things are getting a little bit muddled, or maybe you've found the home that you're thinking about writing an offer on, and a really great question comes to your mind and you think to ask your realtor. So, is this a good neighborhood? Or is this a safe neighborhood? Well, this is a super easy question for me to answer, and that's why I'm starting with it first. And the answer that any realtor should be giving you is, unfortunately, ethically, I cannot tell you if it's a safe or a good neighborhood. The reason why is it's a very subjective question. I may think it's safe, or you may not think it's safe. It all really just depends on your idea of safe or good. The other reason, other than ethically, why we don't answer this question as realtors is we don't want to put ourselves in the line of fire. For example, if you do buy the house and then the very next day, for example, you get broken into, then you can come back to your realtor, and we just don't want that kind of liability as well. The other point I'd like to make when we are talking about, is this a good or a safe neighborhood? Some people ask, well, what kind of people live in this neighborhood? And again, that's not something your realtor should be asking or should be answering you. And the reason is we abide by fair housing laws. We do make our sellers abide by the fair housing laws and our buyers as well. If you would like that information, I'm going to be giving you a few resources at the end of the video to help you kind of educate yourself on that, since your realtor really can't answer that question for you. Okay, the second question I get asked a lot is, how do I know that I'm getting a deal? This is a great question, and I hate to say this, but I just don't like the term deal. You're buying your biggest asset, and you should not be looking for a sale. It's just my opinion. So if you're looking to make sure you're not overpaying for something above market value, there are a couple of ways that you can do some research and get your realtor involved. The first question you should be asking is, can I get some comps for this neighborhood? I want to see what's been going on, and every buyer's agent should be doing this kind of regardless, but it's a great way for you to get more educated about what has sold in the neighborhood, how many foreclosures there have been in the neighborhood, the average price versus the average square feet. You don't want to be the biggest house on the block per se, unless that's what you really want, but you don't want to be the smallest either. It's good to be in the middle of the pack, and making sure that your price is not going to be the highest price sold in that neighborhood, unless the market very much demands it. And that's possible, however, it really depends on the market. Another great way you can make sure that you're not overpaying for the market is making sure that your appraisal contingency is written into your offer, therefore contract. Now, for most loans, I almost want to say all, but it's most loans do require you to have an appraisal. This is a great way to ensure that you're not overpaying for the loan that you are going to be getting. The appraiser essentially walks through the home, also finds comparables, and then does an analysis of their own and sends it to your lender. Your lender then shares with you. It is your personal property what that appraisal says, and if the appraisal is over what you are asking for, then great. You are not overpaying for the market. If that appraiser gives you an estimate, or an appraisal that is less than what you are trying to buy the home for, we need to go back to the drawing board with the sellers and see what we can work out there. So that was two really great ways to ensure that you're not overpaying for the home. Now, the third question that I get asked a lot is, how do I get out of this contract? I no longer want the house, and there could be many reasons why. Perhaps another home has come on the market that you definitely like more, and that's the home you want to put an offer on. And that's possible. It's not really an ideal situation because you've already invested a lot of time and probably money into your home inspections, etc., into the home that you're in right now. Another one is perhaps you have done your home inspections and there is something in the home inspection report that you can't wrap your head around. I had one buyer who ended up walking away after doing home inspections due to a failed septic tank, and there were major foundation issues that would require her to lift the entire house and then fix and then put the house back down. I mean, it was insane. So she ended up walking away. We found another home and it worked out. So that's another reason why you may want to walk away, and another great reason why you definitely want that home inspection. So that kind of leads me to, how do you get to walk away from a home? And that's via your contingencies. You do want to make sure that you have contingencies written into your contract that would allow you to walk away in safe harbor and hopefully also get your earnest money deposit back. Earnest money deposit is given when you go under contract. Typically it's 1% of the sales price here in Maryland, and it's something that you risk. Absolutely you risk when you put an offer in on a home. There's no cut or dry, black and white ability to get out of the contract and ensure that you get that earnest money deposit back. Though I will tell you, one of the easiest ways that you can do that is if you are buying a home in an HOA, a homeowners association. As a buyer and consumer, you have the right to review those HOA documents. I think that's great. You have about 5 days to do it, and that allows you to walk away should you find anything in the HOA documents that is not to your liking. Perhaps you want to paint that front door purple and the HOA says no. That is a way you can get out of the contract and pretty easily get that earnest money deposit back. But just remember, that earnest money deposit is always going to be negotiable as soon as you turn it in. One of the other contingencies that you can also write into your contract, and I always highly recommend for my buyers, is the home inspection. I gave an example already where one of my clients walked away due to the home inspection. She did have that right to walk away without asking the seller to repair. There's two ways you can do that. You can write it in that you want to be able to walk away if you find anything wrong with the home that you just can't wrap your mind around. Or you can walk away if you ask the sellers to make a few repairs and the seller says, no, absolutely not. I will not be making that repair, and in which case you have the right to walk away. But just keep in mind there are deadlines that you need to keep within to make sure that you are within a specified timeline and able to walk away during that contingency. There is a third contingency which will allow you to walk away. However, it's really not the ideal one, and that is your lending or your financing contingency. You must make all valiant efforts to get your financing in order. And I mean everything that you could have possibly done, documented, to make sure that you are not piddle-paddling around with your financing agenda. So if it really does turn out, for example, if you lose your job during this process, or there is a huge financially changing a moment that happens, you are able to walk away if you no longer qualify. But again, every effort must be made. And in which case, if your lending doesn't work out and you've gotten to that point, you've done your home inspections, the appraisal, etc., the seller has definitely taken their home off the market for some time at this point, perhaps. yeah, the seller probably has a very good way of keeping that earnest money deposit. So when you put an offer in on a property and you're unsure, unclear, not really fully invested emotionally and with your money, just keep in mind it's not ideal to back out of contracts unless absolutely necessary. So hopefully you really do love the home, and that's not really going to be an issue in the end. Alright everyone, that's it for today. Please stay tuned because every Tuesday I do post a new video about the buying and selling process of residential real estate, down to earth style.